Welcome to round 2 of the South African Rotax Max Challenge at Laserfische Raceway Vereeniging in Gauteng. Jordan Brooks heading up the pack, ahead of Carl Visser, Josh de Paiva, Josh Leroux, Mikael Fernandez and Joaquin de Oliveira.
I'm looking forward to this race. Hopefully I can get first in the start and pull away.
But it's not going to be that easy, is it? Not on this track, because there's a lot of overtaking opportunity.
Yeah, it's very hard because there's lots of overtaking opportunity. If I'm still in the lead the last 2 laps, and I'll defend my lines.
Who's going to be the guys who are going to give you trouble?
Kyle, Josh, Lou, Josh Tapaiva and Mikael.
Tell me about qualifying.
Qualifying was very good. I was 0.5 fastest. So I can really hope I can get a first in the race.
Can you drop me mic klein bietjie? Net off. Okay. But what's your plan going into this race?
My goal actually is to win this whole race meeting because I really want my Western Province colours.
And here we are now, the start of the first heat for Minimax. Jordan Brooks on pole, the homeboy, ahead of Carl Visser, the Cape Tonian. Cape Tonian is doing very well at this event with Josh de Paiva in third and Josh Leroux in fourth. Nice to see again a nice mix of chassis brands there. Burl Art ahead of the Cosmic of Carl Visser as they head now into the chicane. Carl Visser looking racing on the inside of Jordan Brooks. How they made it through there without any issues as Joshua de Paiva goes on the inside of Josh Leroux.
Also, of course, Minimax, a class that is that natural progression.
Josh Leroux not letting de Paiva there get away with the move, and he's managed to make his way back through the tight right. Sorry to interrupt you there, yeah?
Yes, it's interesting, you know, we see these guys, they all did GP Juniors years gone by, they did Max to Reno, and this Minimax has just become a good class in between Junior Max and a Micro Max, and you know, the guys can hone their skills here for 3-4 years before they move on to Junior Max.
It's a good bridge between the smaller carts and the bigger chassis. But Josh Leroux not letting Joshua de Paiva get the better of him in this first lap. But it's allowed Carl Visser and Jordan Brooks just to get away that little bit. Maybe that'll help Josh de Paiva, or Jordan Brooks as they carry on throughout this race.
Yes, a big guys at the front, and then this huge strain of drivers arriving. And yeah, I think it's going to carry on for the rest of the race.
It looks like a bit of a Cape Tonian grudge match happening there further back, as it's allowed Liam de Beer to move up quite nicely. He's been strong at the circuit in recent events, and I expect him to continue. Sean Frost there helping him out as we watch Jager Robertson down the inside of Jacqueline de Oliveira. Jacqueline running slightly wide and losing a few more places in the process.
And yeah, the charge is on for the front. The guys is trying to chase down those two at the front. They've sort of in pairs of 2 by 2 at the moment.
It seems like there's been a couple of breaks throughout the class, but it looks like Josh Leroux just doesn't seem to have the pace as the race goes on. He seems to be dropping off as the laps progress. Jordan Brooks down the inside, but he makes a mash of that move, allowing Carl Visser the cutback as they head through the left-hander. Jordan Brooks being nice, giving him a bit more room around the outside than I would have, carrying on the dice now for the honours in this class.
Yes, the two of them starting to squabble at the front. Is that going to bring the other guys back into the race? I already see a bit of a break there for third place.
We know Josh de Paiva is strong. We've watched him in the Micromax. We know he knows this track well. Jordan Brooks looking very, very messy up front. Maybe the kart not geared for the beginning of this race and rather geared for the end of it. Carl Visser looking very strong behind him though. Very racy and very hungry for that win.
Gearing the kart for different parts of the race. What do you mean by that?
There's many things you can do. You can look at possible jetting. So if you go too lean, your kart tends to go in the beginning and not so well towards the end. You start losing a bit of top end. You start overheating. Tire pressures as well play a very important game in making sure that your kart can run consistently fast for 12 laps. Go too hard on the pressures, it comes in too early but drops off. Go too low, it comes in too late. So it's a gamble we all take as the mechanics running these karts to help these kids out as much as we can, to help them get to the front and get to win. And it's why I do what I do every day. See these kids get off the track with a big smile on their face.
And when you do that, is it something that you do in conjunction with your driver, and is he aware of what you're trying to achieve?
Especially at this age, they become a lot more aware with their kart, and you'll be surprised how much they know about the chassis, how much they know about what changes they want, how much they know the behavior of the kart. It's unbelievable talking to these kids. As Kyle Fisser now heads up the inside now of Jordan Brooks, easy move for him, he made that look good. Jordan Brooks obviously tried that move earlier, made a bit of a hash of it, but they are driving with such maturity up front. If Kyle Fisser is going down the inside, Jordan Brooks gives him the room he needs to not slow them both down and allow the guys to catch up to them.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. The two of them are going at such a rapid rate of knots. They're not slowing down. Nobody is coming to... They got Depaiva, but he's not closing on them at all because they are running such nice lines and helping and working together.
Jordan Brooks now losing a little bit of time, a little bit of a gap on Kyle Fisser, but I'm sure he'll chase down hard. And in these races, knowing that you need to do a good lap to have a good starting position in the following heat, that little gap could help you in a lap and maybe chase down and get that extra 0.1 or 0.2 on your compatriots and get a pole position for the next heat. As you watch Josh LaRue go defensive now, he gets the move, no, not quite defensive enough, and it's allowed Liam De Beer to attack there. Miguel Fernandez there holding up on Liam De Beer and holding back Josh LaRue at the same time. Liam De Beer looking very racy at the moment. He knows this track well. He may be from KZN, but he's been doing a lot of racing up here at our regionals.
Yeah, Mikhail did very well at Idube at the last race meeting. We all know that the weather played a big part of a wet track, dry track, wet track. But yeah, no, it's good to see that one takes these things onto the other circuits and not become a one-circuit specialist.
Under the guidance of Wesley Orr, also one of our multiple karting world champions, I've had the joy of having to race against him throughout my career, and he is a very, very wise man. Nice to learn from him. Lap 9 of 10 now, and Liam De Beer just holding off this front group as we head through the left double right. He doesn't seem to be able to get onto the back of Joshua Depaiva just yet. Joshua Depaiva's gap just too big for him to get to close down in the 10 laps of this heat. Something going on here between Jordan Brooks and Kyle Fisser. I see Jordan Brooks, but I don't see Kyle Fisser.
Kyle Fisser spun on that last chicane. Kyle Fisser spun on that chicane, so he's dropped back to about 6th, 7th place.
On the second to last lap, unfortunate, could have been an error from Kyle Fisser or a little bit of a 50-50 maneuver between himself and Jordan Brooks, but it's given Jordan Brooks a victory with a gap like that on the rest of the field as we head down the back straight. Liam De Beer now looking racy. He's caught up to Joshua Depaiva, and he could turn this into a second place finish.
Yeah, this is the dice now suddenly for 2, 3 and 4.
It's unbelievable how quickly things can change in this karting game. One small mistake from front runners and all of a sudden you've gained 3 positions.
Yeah, Brooks looking very composed, got nothing to worry about, doesn't even have to look left or right, there's nobody there. Depaiva looking over his shoulder.
Depaiva though not going defensive. I think he knows he had about a kart width on Liam De Beer, and Liam will gladly take 3rd place after his starting position in this first heat.
Crossing the line, getting the checkered flag for the first time today from pole position. Jordan Brooks, after losing Kyle Fisser there, ahead of Josh Depaiva, Liam De Beer, Mikhail Fernandez, Josh LaRue, Kyle Fisser ending up in 6th place ahead of Jagger Robertson.
Unexpected win. Tell me about your race.
Yeah, it was a good race. In the start, I had a good start, and I was hoping to pull away, but Kyle Fisser was pushing me, and then when he passed me, I passed him back, and then when he pulled me, I thought it was over, but then he spun 2 laps before the finish line. So hopefully the next race will be as well as this.
It was good. I had a horrible start, but then I managed to make up a place and I was in 3rd. Then Jordan and Kyle started to break away, and at the last 2 laps left, Kyle spun over there.
That's a pity. Tell me what's your plan for the next race?
To just get a good start and break away.
It was very stressful. It was fun. If I had a few laps, I would have got the other 2. But overall, I think it was a good race. No one was racing dirty. It was very, very fair, and hopefully next time I'll get them.
What's your plan for the next race, boy?
to catch the other two and hopefully get that first and get some points for the championship.
Heat 2 now of Mini Max. Carl Visser sitting the fastest lap of that heat, putting him on pole for the Heat 2 ahead of Jordan Brooks, Joshua De Paiva, and in 4th, Mikhail Fernandez. They head now to the start there, and the starter's orders, the flag goes down, and the race is on. A lot of movement behind there as they head into the chicane. 3 into 1 doesn't go, but who came off worse there? I'm not sure. As they head down onto the back straight, though, it's Carl Visser ahead of Jordan Brooks and Josh De Paiva in 3rd, the usual protagonist in the front again. Josh De Paiva seems to be a stable setting there in the front of any class he competes in. I cannot believe this kid does 2 classes on a day.
Yes, and he's a tiny kid. He's not a big, bulky, chunky child. He's a tiny kid. So yeah, doing the 2 classes, I also can't believe it. He must be very, very fit.
Munda there looking very racy in 4th or 5th place at the moment with Jager Robertson. Jager hasn't done much racing this year. He's only just come to do this national. He's busy looking at doing the Legends racing at the moment. But showing strong here at Vereeniging.
Yes, and the front 4 has pulled a bit of a gap with a chasing pack coming up behind them. And Jordan Brooks having a look over his shoulder and thinking, okay, I just bide my time, don't try and do silly stuff too early.
Joshua De Paiva obviously taking a book out of Muhammad Wali's, a page out of Muhammad Wali's book there, going defensive on the first couple of laps, but he obviously made a mistake onto the back straight and just wanted to maintain 3rd place and try and hang on to these front 2. These front 2 have been dominant all weekend, all day Friday, all day Saturday. They've been the ones to beat, and they're carrying it on through Heat 2.
Carl Visser must be distraught after throwing it away on the last lap of a previous race, and he would like to make amends for that.
We all make mistakes in motorsports, and a split-second decision could be that between going off and staying on the track. So I'm sure he wants to turn this around and turn it into a race victory, but Jordan Brooks isn't going to let it happen easy. Mikhail Fernandez looking very racy in this heat behind Joshua De Paiva. De Paiva was able to... big mistake there from Munda. Or is that Jager Robertson? That's Jager Robertson making a massive mistake onto that back straight and that infamous high curb, teaching him a lesson. They head now into the tight left. There's still Jordan Brooks and Carl Visser, nose to tail, glued to each other. I wonder if Carl Visser is wondering if they left the tow rope on as they left the circuit, because he can't seem to shake Jordan Brooks.
Yeah, and De Paiva is also thinking the same, because he just seemed to not be able to shake Mikhail there.
It's again a 2x2 in the front, 2 fighting for 1st and 2nd, and the same and 2 fighting again for 3rd and 4th. As we look back as a group behind them, led by Munda Mlenga, with Josh LaRue and Jaden Clisson close behind.
Coming down the back straight, and there's dice for 4, 5, 6 heating up.
I was mistaken as Liam De Beer there having a look at Josh LaRue as they head through the right-hander and right-left combination into this long sweeping left-hander, hard on the brakes to the tight left and into the double right. Very bumpy part of the circuit this, very easy to make a mistake. Again, there's a bit of an evil curve on the outside. Hit it too hard and it will pull you into the grass. Right-left flick here, change of direction. Here's where all the moves are made in these smaller classes. Onto the right-hander here by the main straight. Liam De Beer close enough, but thinking better of it as they head down the main straight now to start another lap.
This is almost becoming a 5-way dice now, as they head going into turn 1.
It's a 5-way dice for 2nd though. The front 2 have checked out. They've left the rest of them wondering where have they found this turn of pace, but it's Jordan Brooks actually helping Carl Visser along down the back straight, not making a move, unlike behind him Mikhail Fernandez and Joshua De Paiva.
And now it's a 5-way battle, because them passing each other and changing up the lines have now made it a 5-way dice there.
If I was Munda, I would know I don't have the pace to be in that group. It's taken me a while to get up there, and only a mistake from the front guys have brought me onto it. Now's the time to capitalize. No need to wait. Get a move done and get it done early.
A nice little train. This might just let the front 2 guys get further away at the front, but at least a good 5-way train dicing for the 3rd place on the podium. And I think some fancy lines might be coming out soon.
Yeah, I think with very few laps to go, it's definitely going to be time to start bringing out the blocking maneuvers. But Liam De Beer looking very quick at the back of that group and maybe wanting to move up as fast as possible Mundler needs to make his move on Joshua Piver now if he wants to stay in that group. He's made a slight mistake out of the hairpin and he's lost a couple of cart links, making him vulnerable to Josh LaRue behind him there as they head into the tight left. Josh LaRue down the inside, gets past him, runs in a bit too deep. Liam De Beer now able to get up the inside of Mundler Mega as they get through the double right. Now into the right-left flick is Liam going to make the move here onto the main straight. We know he's quick out of this section. He's got the run, but Josh LaRue wise to it.
Yes, it's broken up. It will dice a bit now. Two of them, the five of them getting away a bit at the front, while these others are just jockeying for position here for 6, 7 and 8.
And now we've got a 2x2 and a three-way battle behind them as we head down again into the back straight, watching Joshua De Paiva and Mikel Fernandez. Liam De Beer down the inside now of Josh LaRue as they head into the right-hander. Has he compromised his exit? Is Josh going to be able to stick it down the inside into this tight left? I'm sure he's going to be looking for it as they head through the long sweeping left. Josh De Paiva making the move into the tight left, into the double right they go now. Seems to be settling down a bit here at the front as Liam De Beer putting his head down trying to catch the front two.
Yes, good move there. Is he going to come back at him? Doesn't give him the space to do it. And yes, De Paiva settling into his third place. And hopefully he must be hoping to pull away slightly instead of being under pressure all the time.
You'll notice a couple of these carts have got nose cones on them without stickers. They've been very, very strict with nose cones in the last couple of races. Any holes, dings or scratches underneath your nose cone and they force you to change it because that affects the way your clip system works and your penalty is. As makes an absolute mess of that move, allowing Josh De Paiva just to double him back far too easily. Like I said earlier, going offline on the circuit at the moment, there is no grip. So it makes passing just that little bit more difficult, just to add a bit to our viewing pleasure.
And the two of them shuffling places there is bringing the other two guys back into it. So we might have a four-way dice now.
Liam and Munda. Liam doing very well here from KZN. Like I said, he's been doing a lot of racing up in our region, but hasn't shown the turn and pace he normally has, especially in the previous regional 2 weeks before this event. Josh De Paiva never showing any glimpse of cracking, even after two events in the previous class.
The two at the front just driving a brilliant race, not looking around, not slowing each other down, and they managed to pull further and further away.
You see Jordan Brooks maybe lose a car length or two on Carl Visser and gains it back relatively easily. He knows he's got the pace to lead. He knows he's got the pace to be in front. But rather than lead Carl Visser on the last few laps, why not just wait? Bide your time. Get it done in the last couple of laps so you know that once you've passed him, you've got it done and you've got the win in the bag.
He looks very composed and it looks like I can pass whenever I want to. I'm just going to sit here, put the pressure on, keep you honest, and I can pass whenever I want to.
Carl Visser, though, I don't think it's going to make it easy for him as he goes defensive down the back straight, knowing that he's only got a couple of laps left to go as they head through the hairpin now. Is he going to go defensive for the left? He doesn't. He rather doesn't compromise the drive to the long sweeps. He knows that Jordan Brooks is going to be looking down the left-hand side here. He probably will go defensive as they go now into the tight left. He doesn't. Leaves the door open. Jordan Brooks has a look. A little bit too late, but he gives Carl Visser a little bit of a nudge on the exit. Nothing wrong with that, but a little bit of crowding. Shouldn't be on the outside there. Jordan stuck to his line and kept it. Carl Visser doesn't seem to think so. He seems to think there was something wrong with that move.
Yes, it's always the last lap where guys start moving and changing lines, and sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. And yes, Jordan Brooks come through, second win of the day, and I don't think the clerk of the course will listen to Carl Visser for that move too long. Josh De Paiva into third place, Mikel Fernandez fourth, Liam De Beer 5, and Mandla Mangani into sixth place with Josh LaRue 7.
The race is good. In the start, Kyle got the lead, and I kept on following the whole way. And then he pulled a little bit, and I was a bit worried. But then I started catching him, and then the last lap, I dived him in the inside, and I kept on working. And I'm glad that I got the win.
I didn't finish in the position I actually expected, so I'm actually very thankful.
What's your plan for the next race then?
The next race I actually want to win because I actually really want my Western Province colours.
Here it is now, the start of the third and final heat for the Minimax. It's quite late in the day. Temperatures have changed quite a bit. You can see Jordan Brooks fiddling with his radiator flap there, pinching the fuel pipe now to make sure he gets the right fuel mixture. When he hits the throttle, it doesn't bog, and he gets a great start. Carl Visser also getting away well there, but he manages to hang on to second. It looked like Liam De Beer had made it happen. Josh LaRue very racy in the beginning now, up into fourth straight away. Bit of a gap now between Jordan Brooks and Carl Visser. Last heat, it looked like Jordan Brooks had the pace to stay away from Carl Visser. Let's see if he's got it now. They head now through the right-left flick. It's Jackman de Oliveira and Jagger Robertson hammer and tongs again as they were in the previous heat.
Yes, Carl Visser must be thinking, okay, what am I going to do? I better get in front of his kid early, and I need to get away from him. I don't want to leave it to the last lap.
Although that seemed to work for Jordan Brooks in the previous heat, maybe he'd be wise just to sit behind Jordan Brooks and try the same tactic Jordan tried on him in the previous heat.
Yeah, sometimes I think it's better to put the pressure on rather than he's looking at it, and you want to think, why not just put the pressure on Jordan? Maybe you can force him into a mistake.
Joshua De Paiva either had a very bad starting position or had a very bad start. He's down there in 6th or 7th place. He's going to be looking to move his way back up the field. Mikael Fernandez as well, further down than he was in the previous two heats. We know he's got the pace to run up at the front, not quite with these front two, Carl Visser and Jordan Brooks, but definitely the pace to run inside the top three.
Yeah, the front two would love to break away again, and yes, we once again have a 2x2 scenario. It's like a pattern that quickly develops, and in 5th place, hopefully cross over and get into a big battle for 3rd place with 3 of them going at it.
Jordan Brooks now always running a little bit deep through that right-hander, but he still manages to get the drive onto the left flick as they head through here, not compromising himself to Carl Visser, but Carl Visser looking very strong into this right-hander onto the main straight. That might be his place for his move in the final closing laps of this race.
He is sort of looking at that inside there, but I think maybe leave it till later. I think he's learned from the previous heat. Why should he run at the front and take all the pressure? Maybe apply the pressure onto Jordan Brooks.
Josh LaRue, though, in the early parts of the race, showing a good turn of pace, running there in 4th place behind Liam De Beer. They just don't quite have the response for these two in front. The whole field left scratching their heads after this weekend to figure out where these two have found the pace.
Yes, and I think, as these other guys come up and through the field and pushing to the front, you have a situation of saying, okay, this is not necessarily a make or break national. You take the bank for points here. If you have a bad run, or I always say the 3rd round of a championship, that is where you decide, okay, I in this weekend need to bank proper points, otherwise come 4th round I might just be too far off the front.
I expected Josh De Paiva there and Mikael Fernandez to make their way up the field a little bit quicker than what they're doing now, but Josh LaRue holding strong there in front of Mikael Fernandez and Joshua De Paiva.
Yes, De Paiva, I think at this stage of the day, this is his 6th race of the day. He's now had 6 races. He must be tired. He must be really, really knackered.
Look, NBR Racing have been putting in a lot of work with Josh LaRue to try and get him further up the field. Unfortunately, not as strong as a weekend as they thought they were going to have this weekend. They were strong at the regional. Obviously, missed the beats a couple of bits here, but I'm almost 100% sure that they'll be down at the Rock National in Cape Town preparing for this Rotax National coming up afterwards.
The 2 at the front disappearing, but these guys dicing for 4, 5 and 6th place, and I think also now the toll of running 6 races is showing in De Paiva, not being able to manage to run with them.
You see De Paiva there going for his radiator flap. Maybe he's just a bit too late on that. Hopefully as the engine cools down we'll see him move further up, but it must be difficult driving 6 events in a day, well now 7 because of the 4 heats that the Micromax do. It's unbelievable. I couldn't do it now. If someone asked me to do D2 and Senior Max this weekend, I would have politely said no. It blows my mind to see this kid doing this.
Mandla Mangeni there behind him as De Paiva makes a move.
Great move from De Paiva onto that right-hander. It's hampered Josh LaRue's drive onto the main straight. He's touched there with Mandla, not allowing him any room to get through the chicane there on the right-hand side. A little bit boisterous. He could have left him a bit more room as the track turns left shortly after. It was still his corner, but kept the move and they both stayed on the circuit.
Yeah, that curb could have chucked Mandla into the infield and it could have cost him dearly, but he managed to recover from it, and still in it to fight.
Jager Robertson's card looking like a throwback from the 80s without a nose cone on it. It reminds me of the cars they used to race back in those days, in the early 90s and late 80s. I see many pictures of it. I was too young to see it in person. But back to this, the fight in the front. Carl Visser doing exactly what Jordan Brooks did the previous heat. Biding his time, keeping it there. But Jordan seems to have 2 or 3 car links on him as they head down the main straight here.
You're talking about that nose cone missing on that cart. Isn't the rule there that you've got to come in after a certain amount of laps?
He wasn't shown a black and orange flag, so therefore he's not entitled to come in.
But surely come the end of a race he's going to be underweight. I mean, a nose cone is 2.5 odd kilograms.
Jager Robertson's quite a big boy, and I know the top cart nose cone only weighs 1.6 kilos. So if he's within 1.6 kilos and he's on weight, he'll make it through the event.
Things getting nice and tight at the front with these two. I mean, there's nothing between them, and it suddenly seems like Kyle wants to go for it.
Looking down the inside there, didn't quite get the move done though. We head now onto lap 8 of 12 onto the main straight, and it's the same gap it's been every lap onto this main straight. Carl Visser had a bit of an early look, decided better of it. He's going to keep the same tactic he's decided on when he left the pit lane. If Jordan's in front of me, I'm going to let him lead and follow. But now is the time. 8 laps, 4 laps to go. He's down the inside, or 3 laps to go of Jordan Brooks, and he makes the move stick nice and clean. Doesn't overdo it. Doesn't allow Jordan the opportunity to come back at him with a double up. But is Jordan just going to sit there now until the final lap? Let Carl do the work. Let Carl do the lead. Jordan's been doing it the whole race so far. He's been keeping the pace, keeping it consistent, allowing Carl to follow him. It's a lot easier to follow than it is to lead. So maybe it's Carl Visser's turn now.
Yeah, Kyle has really got to the front now, and you can see he suddenly seems to be wanting to go away. Unfortunately, there we've got a retirement.
That's Melandri van Wyk there sitting on the sidelines. Unfortunate for her. She's shown some decent pace this weekend as we head into the last lap. Jordan Brooks allowed Carl Visser to lead, and now it's time to attack. Carl Visser going defensive into the hairpin. He hasn't compromised his drive that much, and he has blocked Jordan Brooks' advances now into the left-hander. They've got a long sweeping left. He'd be clever to keep it tight now after the second apex of this left-hander. And he doesn't do so. He leaves the door open, but he goes in deep. Jordan not close enough and not brave enough on the brakes there. It leaves only the right-hander here at Talcum Corner and one more right-hander afterwards. Jordan Brooks not close enough here. The only move he has now is in on the right-hander onto the main straight, and this 9 times out of 10 ends in tears. He's down the inside here. Carl gives him not enough room, and unfortunately it puts him on the marbles and into the grass. Jordan Brooks taking an easy win there after that incident.
And yeah, unfortunately for Kyle, last corner gave a room and he ended up paying the price. Second came Liam De Beer, Michael Fernandez came in third place, Joshua Rapaiva 4, Mandla Mangeni in 5, ahead of LaRue, Modiba, Robertson and Carl Visser recovering to 9.
Good win, buddy.
Yeah, that was a good race. I won all 3 heats for the day, hopefully. It was a good day. The last lap I couldn't dive him there. He kept on pushing me. The third last lap he dived me on the straight. It was a good race, and I dived in the last corner before the straight fair and square. He pushed me, and we pushed together. In second place he spun off, but it was a good race.
Are you a bit worried about the incident on the last corner here?
No, I'm not worried because I dived him. I dived next to him, so.
Okay, what does this mean for the next round?
Hopefully in the next round we can go and win all 3 again.
It was fun. It was a good race, and I really feel bad for the guy that was in first. He spun. So far it was it was really fun, fair race for me, and I want to shout out my driver trainer, Frost Racing, for getting me this far, and yeah.
Yeah, it was a good race. In the first lap, in the warm-up lap, my clutch seized, so dropped back. In the warm-up laps, I got back to my position, so I had a slow start. Lost a few positions. I got them back. Then I went on a late race charge to try and catch Liam De Beer. But then I was hopping through the corners, so yeah, I'm very happy with the results, and hopefully the next one will be better. Try and get that lead back.